Yo, hey everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very, very excited about this very first community spotlight event of the Open Web Foundry #6. We have a fully all-star lineup here for you. And I'll hand it over to Jesse, who's going to tell us a little bit more about who we're lucky to have here today.
Yeah, thank you, Seb. And yeah, again, thank you everybody for joining us on the first Community Spotlight. We'll be doing these every Friday from now until the end of the program. However, this one's going to be a little different from the next ones we're going to be hosting. So if anyone wants to present their project or idea at the next few Community Spotlights, you can email me at jesse@arweave.org and we can see if we can set something up. But today we put together a lineup of some really important projects that are building the infrastructure of the permaweb. And I think everyone here other than Al from Koi is an Open Web Foundry alumni. So many of these founders were in the same place as you guys are now. And they're each going to do a short presentation talking about their project and how you're going to be able to leverage it for what you're working on. Also, some of them will be hosting office hours / drop-in sessions next week to answer any questions you might have and show you how to implement their tooling. And we'll be distributing some of the times for that over email, Twitter, and Discord very soon. So that's at Open Web Foundry and then the Arweave developer Discord. So without further ado, we're really excited to be presenting these projects today, and we have a really all-star lineup, as Seb said. And the first one we're going to be presenting is Jacob from Redstone, who's going to be presenting tools on how to use Redstone oracles and then also contracts based on
Smart. Hi guys, so thank you, Jesse, for the introduction. I'm really happy to be there, so thanks for having me. And I'm also quite jealous because the Open Web Foundry was an amazing experience for me. It actually helped to turn a very rough idea into the working product. So it was a fantastic time, and please enjoy it and take the most of it. Let me show a few slides. So we are Redstone, and we provide the basic infrastructure for blockchain projects, focusing on oracles and smart contracts to manage data integrity and all of the other use cases based on the Arweave network, obviously. And with oracles, recently made a really good progress. So if you are interested in getting the data from the external world to your projects, or if you are interested in taking the content and other amazing stuff that you have on the Arweave network and exporting that to other chains like Ethereum, Celo, Avalanche, on which we recently integrated, then definitely reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. And the recent updates, we managed to decentralize the data transmission layer, integrating with Streamer, which is a total opposite to Arweave, because Streamer is all about the ephemeral data that lasts for a few seconds, while Arweave is this permanent web network, but they work really amazing together. We also improved the performance of our Ethereum virtual machine connectors, so they are much more efficient, and we managed to get through 2 audits, so we are quite sure that the code should be secure enough to deploy into production. And also we work on decentralizing the aggregator infrastructure, so any project consuming the information could rely on more than a single node and get this redundancy and all of the benefits of decentralization. And we've been also heavily involved into the smart contract on the Arweave network. So we started a few months ago providing a few simple fixes to the existing SmartWeave SDK, but we got a bit carried away, and we managed to rewrite the whole SDK in a modular way. And since that moment, we constantly try to optimize and improve it bit by bit, increasing the performance, providing more docs, examples, and developing the product further. From one of the interesting innovations we recently introduced was the ability to modify state of an external contract within a contract. So the cross-contract rights, it was present in other blockchains, but it was missing in the original SmartWeave infrastructure. And yeah, I think it's really big improvement because the use cases as staking or the custody of other assets like NFTs or funds or some voting systems are much easier to implement when you can modify a state of an external contract. So be happy to provide you guidance on that. And we also publish really nice tutorials. So if you are starting your journey and you'd like to learn how to implement and write contracts on the SmartWeave, we encourage you to give it a try, because doing that it's quite easy, and also it's a lot of fun. So let me navigate to the website when you get the SmartWeave tutorial. There is a small short description, like line by line, how to add more code. It should take less than half an hour, then you may have a really amazing app. So that's the app that generates unique items that you can mint, you can trade, you can view. That's there's also like a leaderboard. And when we deploy that, it gets quite a lot of traction. So within an hour, we got about 10,000 transactions. And we're quite unlucky because that was also the time when the network was reorganized. So we ended in a state when we got a question in our Discord channel, like, who actually is an owner of a given item? Should I trust the view block? Should I trust the GraphQL? I get my very precious, let's say, purple platinum ring, but also my friend claimed to have one. So actually, it could be a blessing in disguise, because it allows us to look deeper into how the transactions are indexed from the Arweave network and how could we improve the process, focusing on the security. Because talking about this purple ring, it's not a big issue if we get a discussion who is the true owner, but let's imagine there's like a few millions of precious PST tokens that get lost, and that transaction may cause a confusion. So we work on a dedicated gateway for smart contract transactions that should mitigate all of the security concerns, and also it's much faster. So the original gateways, like the GraphQL one, has a cap of 100 transactions being returned, and obviously for more popular contracts, is a real bottleneck in terms of the performance. So we optimize that. That's the architecture if you're interested, and you got the process of verifying transactions to make sure that we get a really consistent interpretation if the transaction was confirmed, if it's included into the network, and if it could be trusted. So that's the whole methodology we use, and we also identify corrupted transactions where there could be a debate how should we interpret that. And actually, this is quite heavy and technical, but we also provided a nice UI to browse the transactions. If you are familiar with an Ethereum network, is kind of an equivalent of the Etherscan. It allows you to browse the transactions. And okay, let's look in our original contract. So I can see all of the transactions that happened, almost like 10,000 of them. But it's also a nice addition, especially for developers, is the ability to actually see the code of a smart contract. And for that, we integrated with an amazing project called RCode. I really like the interface. Then I can log in using my favorite wallet. So that to Tate, which is RConnect. And then I can even try to execute a transaction within the web interface. Let me give it a try. So let's say it's a dry run, so I'm not going to pay for that. And let me wait. Actually, it's going to take all of the assets, so it may take a while. Let's be patient. So that's the code. Okay, it went through. And there are all of the items that were ever generated. So you can play with the code, you can interact with the contracts. And I think especially at the early stage is quite important. And obviously you can see the current state of a contract, which is automatically updated and evaluated, which also could be helpful. And as I mentioned, we focus on the safety side, so all of the corrupted transactions are identified, and we recommend for everyone, if it happens, to look into the corrupted transaction status and actually see what could went wrong. Also, another update that we introduced 2 weeks ago is something called sequencer. So there was a big improvement into how the Arweave network works, thanks to the bundler and the ability to pack all of the transactions into one bundle, which could be processed more efficiently. And we decided to use a very similar design pattern for the smart contract transactions, also leveraging the bundler network, but adding a sequencer on top of that. So if you are familiar with layer 2 scaling solution like Arbitrum or Optimism, they use a very similar design when the transactions are first ordered and then directed to an off-chain processing. In our case, this off-chain aggregator is bundler, and the sequencer is a solution that we developed that order the incoming transaction. The purpose for that was to solve a big pain point in the current version of contracts when you need to wait for a block to be fully mined on Arweave in order to see the results of your transaction. And sometimes it could take up to 10 or 20 minutes. So if you are sending a token or minting NFT, waiting 20 minutes is a really hurdle for your users. So let me show you maybe an example how it works in practice. We provided a simple dApp that it actually deployed PST contract, and we can click on mint. The transaction has been sent to the sequencer. Then it's confirmed by the bundler, who takes the commitment of delivering that to a future block. And then it's been picked up by our gateway and obviously executed in our automatic executor and sent back to the front end. So a lot of stuff is happening, but actually it's quite fast. It could happen under a second. I've just minted a set of, let's say, 10 million tokens. I can also execute a transfer to another account and give it a try. It's been processed. And after a short while, the transaction was executed. So instead of this up to 20-minute time, we can have almost like a real-time interactions, and that's all of the details of a transaction with a node that was confirming that contract ID, block ID, etc. And even we can see the transaction fee, which is taken back from our original Oracle. So we make a full cycle, and you can see the price of Arweave and see that the transactions are not only fast, but also very affordable. So I think that's all from us. We'll be hosting office hours when we can tell you more about our tools for smart contracts. It's going to happen this Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central European time, and feel invited. We'll be happy to help you developing your project using smart with contracts.
Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, everybody make sure to attend the office hours. Jacob, I think it's going to be in this space, right? It's going to be in GatherTown?
Yes, we'd love to use the GatherTown infrastructure for that.
Perfect. Yeah, so you guys, if you want to join the office hours or drop-in sessions for Redstone and learn a little bit more about smart contracts, you can use the same link. But we'll also be tweeting about this and spreading it out on Discord and email as well. But yeah, Jacob, thank you so much. We're really happy that yourself and the Redstone team are optimizing the Arweave smart contracts and expanding the smart ecosystem. And it seems like you guys are coming out with updates like every day. So thank you very much for all
Thank
your
you,
work.
Jesse. Thanks for having me. Have a great event.
You too. So, yeah. And then next up, we're going to have Tate, who is actually a founder of a few projects in the Arweave ecosystem, namely Verdo, which is a decentralized trading protocol built on top of Arweave. Hey, Tate.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me. Really excited to be. Let me quickly share my screen. Let's see if we can get this to work. Okay. You guys able to see this?
Looks good.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, thank you all for having me. It's really exciting to be here today. Similar to Jacob, we've been around for quite a while. We were fortunate to come up alongside Jacob and the Redstone team, and so I definitely can relate to how it's insane to see all of the building that's occurring around, what got started as just a few people in an ecosystem. So this is really cool. Let's dive in. So before I get started, I'll give a little bit about me. Sorry for the the grainy picture, but that's me. My name's Tate Berenbaum. I discovered Arweave in late 2019 by clicking on a Brave ad that was boasting permanent storage. It's pretty. I'm glad I came across that ad. I built my first project in May of 2020, and ever since have just been really excited about the Arweave ecosystem and have just stayed involved. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to be working full time inside of the ecosystem now on a few projects. Okay, so to give a little bit of context around our team, I started a project called Nest.land. It started as a weekend project again in May of 2020. And it sort of developed into a vibrant open source community full of people that were 100 times smarter than me. And so from this experience, I was able to meet a lot of the team members that are currently on our team today. And we've gone to found Verdo, which is the primary decentralized exchange inside of the Arweave ecosystem. And I'll give some more information about that, as well as RConnect and 3EM, which I'll also give some more information about. And yeah, we're just really passionate about the ecosystem and excited to be able to contribute. So for some context on Verdo, Verdo is the first decentralized exchange on Arweave, and right now it's the primary exchange for all SmartWeave-based assets. So if you're using Jacob's Redstone, or you're writing contracts or not writing contracts, if you're like deploying NFTs through Koi, Verdo is sort of in a position to be able to help you trade the value that you're creating by publishing those assets. So it works for both fungibles and non-fungibles. And we're also currently re-architecting the exchange in a completely trustless version that is all smart contract based on Arweave. So Verdo is currently offline, which is why I'm not going to go too much into detail about it, but we're really excited about this new release that's upcoming. With regards to tools, we've worked on a few things to help other developers inside of the ecosystem pertaining to Verdo, but also not necessarily directly. So the first is Verdo.js. Again, we're rebuilding the JavaScript library, but you'll be able to add support for trading on Verdo inside of your own website in only 3 lines of code once that's ready. So we're really pumped for that. We also have deployed a testnet using Cedric's RLocal, Textury, the organization, Cedric from Textury. So that's also in development, but that'll be coming fully online shortly, and that's what we'll be deploying the new architected version of Verdo to. And Arweave.run is a testnet that you can interact with just like you'd interact with a regular Arweave.net gateway or any other gateway for that matter. But instead of deploying to the actual permaweb, you don't have to make everything permanent. You can test on this. And then we're also working on a universal ID standard. So with Verdo, we wanted to put a large emphasis on user experience and being able to socialize about maybe the assets that you're creating inside of Verdo or other protocols that people are trading on Verdo. And so we've worked with our team and really the wider Arweave ecosystem to develop a universal ID standard that other protocols can plug into. So far, there have been a few use cases for this ID standard, which we're really excited about. Argora has really, they've been kind and plugged into it. So if you make a profile on Argora, you can also, that's also a Verdo profile. So, and to the right here is my is my profile. So let's move on to RConnect. So RConnect is the MetaMask for Arweave, if you will. It's sort of the de facto standard. It's one of the main ways that people are interacting with permaweb applications. And it's also one of the most secure ways as well. And so this is to the right is a picture of what our Connect's user interface looks like. We're currently in the process of completely redesigning this to be much more friendly and current with the new Verdo interface. So we're really excited about that. And you can learn more about our Connect at ourconnect.io. With regards to tools, we're really excited to say that they're actually it requires 0 lines of additional code to integrate support for RConnect inside of an application that you've already built that uses RWeave.js. So if you have a website where people are dragging and dropping their key files and you want to use RConnect instead, basically in RWeave.js, where you would put the key file, the JWK, you can just remove that. And basically that will tell RWeave.js to say like, hey, I'm going to use RConnect to send this transaction, and RConnect will pick that up. Or Finny, the Finny wallet's great for this as well. So I think Al might be talking about that a little bit later on today. But yeah, 0 lines of code to integrate. But if you want some more information about RConnect, you can see the GitHub down below at github.com/theta/RConnect. And it also contains documentation for loads of other events, functions, and utilities that you can use inside of your applications that sort of elevate the experience of integrating with RConnect. So the next thing that our team is sort of incubating right now is a project called 3EM. And the primary driver of 3EM is to enable people to evaluate SmartWeave contracts in multiple different programming languages. So we sort of believe that SmartWeave is more of a philosophy than a standard, in that as long as, there's a way, as long as someone can actually understand the SmartWeave contract you're writing, you should be good. So you should, in theory, be able to write SmartWeave contracts in any programming language. And so this is what 3EM is set out to do. Right now it's a tool that enables people to evaluate smart contracts in Solidity, Rust, JavaScript, and quite a few more, and an adding number of languages too. It's also completely sandboxed. So if you're evaluating a contract that you didn't write yourself, and you want to make sure you don't accidentally download a virus or something, 3EM can help you prevent yourself from doing that on accident. And we're proud to say it's also insanely fast. So you can learn more about 3EM at 3em.dev. And then with regards to tools for 3EM, so we launched the MVP for 3EM's core framework that other people can use as a CLI, and that launched a few weeks ago. And we're really excited. It seemed to be getting a lot of traction. People seem very interested in it. And today, actually, this hasn't been announced yet publicly, but today we're also announcing a JavaScript library, which basically enables you to take 3EM's core functionality and enable that inside of your own application, so that you can evaluate a smart contract written in many different languages, inside of your own applications on web, on Node, and also on Dino. And we're also launching a Rust crate and some WebAssembly helpers as well alongside that. But we're really excited about this because when people start writing smart contracts in different programming languages, like Rust, for example, you can have 3EM enables you to have like an exchange contract like Verdo written in JavaScript, interacting with another contract, like a token contract, for example, that might be written in a different language like Rust. So it's an extremely versatile like technology, and we're really, really pumped for that. You can learn more about it at github.com/3-em and then /3em down below. Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys for the time today. You can find me on Twitter and Discord, and also if you want to join our community, it's at verdo.exchange/chat. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Jesse, and the rest of the RWeave team. I hope to see you guys on the permaweb.
Of course, thank you, Tate. And yeah, I always find it so funny that you found us from a Brave ad. It must have been the most well-placed Brave ad in the entire RWeave ecosystem.
I got lucky.
Yeah, we did too. But yeah, it's really great to see you guys coming out with tooling like Verdo and RConnect. That's really becoming like a major foundation of the permaweb. You mentioned that you're going to be launching a 3EM JavaScript library. When is that happening today? Like what time?
So that's actually happening within the next 2 hours. We're just putting the resources together to actually launch this, and then yeah, we'll be launching it. So very soon, like today. So yeah, just if you join the community, we'll send an announcement in the Discord, and also if you see it on Twitter, you can watch it there. So yeah, thank you guys.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tate. Okay. Next up, we're going to have our third presenter of the event, and this is going to be Al from Koi Network. And Koi is doing some really cool stuff right now in relation to monetizing attention, proof of real traffic, and atomic NFTs, and more. So Al, feel free to step on that nice little orange microphone and start your presentation. It's a little tricky, yeah. I think you got to go back one more. Perfect. No, perfect.
There we go. Cool.
You got it. Yeah.
Sorry, my trigger finger isn't as good as it used to be when I played with the Warcraft. Here we go. Some slides for you guys. Oh, this is actually our new docs portal. We'll talk about that in a second. So, hi folks, I'm Al from Koi. If you haven't heard of Koi before, we mostly are engaged in trying to make decentralized systems easier for people to use. So really the goal is to make a lot of the developer on-ramps a little bit shorter, make things a little bit more user-friendly for end users as well. And the trick to all of this is that we're helping people monetize based on attention. So we're distributing a token that hopefully will pay people just for creating content if their content is cool. I've got some socials on the bottom of the slide here, but you don't have to follow them right now. We will have office hours as well. We will have probably a workshop in this Gather town, but you can also join our Discord, discord.gg/Koi. I'll put these up again at the end in case anybody wants to see them. So very quickly, what Koi is, some background for people who haven't heard of it before. The idea here is that we have an economy on the internet that is completely driven by attention. And so it's actually the scarcest resource in the world, really. There's a lot of people, but their individual attention is very scarce. They only have so many hours in a day and so on. So what we've tried to do is to create a world where creators can create content and actually mine Koi tokens based on the amount of attention that their content gets, which we verify cryptographically with proofs of real traffic. This in turn gives them tokens that they can spend or sell to people so that they can access Koi nodes. And what the Koi nodes are supposed to do is hopefully streamline a lot of these deployment services and help people build like really decentralized apps. So we see this as kind of the solution to the big problem with decentralization, which is that most people have, in a traditional world, they've got a client, a server, and then a storage of some kind of database usually. And what we're trying to do with decentralization is that most people are kind of replacing the bottom part of the database with things like Arweave. But they've still got a lot of the time a server kind of in the middle here. So really our role with Koi and what these nodes are for is that they can hopefully get rid of a lot of those server functionalities for you, do microservices, off-chain things like web scraping, and kind of give you that extra functionality that you might have been looking for. So what we're excited to announce today is that we have a new settlement layer coming in about a month. And the idea with that is not that Arweave has any shortcomings, but mainly that our Koi nodes kind of needed an independent way to send transactions between each other and to settle different things that they're doing. So we've built out kind of a fork of Solana that has an epoch-based consensus, but we'll be unveiling that probably in a month or so. The short-term news is that Finny has a new version, which hopefully will fix a lot of the issues that people have been seeing with compatibility with Arconnect, and also will hopefully unveil lots of new features. I'll get into those in the next slide, though. We also have a docs portal, which I'll be going through in a minute because we just released that today. And we're initializing a grant program, which we'll be running some workshops on and hopefully getting some people funded to work on their own projects, kind of in parallel with trying to get lots of stuff going on Arweave. We're also hopefully going to be able to offer you guys lots of additional services so that you can kind of get lots of streamlined development help and also get kind of cool projects that you wouldn't have been able to do completely on-chain. So the first thing I'll talk about is the crowdfunding templates. So this is in our new docs portal. We have this thing called KoiX, which is a kind of creator toolkit and lets you spin up a new website and then deploy it to the permaweb. So we don't actually have a plagiarism registry DAO, but we made this one as an example because we thought, that's something that probably needs to happen sooner or later. So with this template, you get out of the box payments in Arweave, ETH, and Koi. It's got wallet hooks for Arconnect, MetaMask, and Finny, and a couple of other ones, I think. And it also lets you automatically track the funding goals. So we'll pull in the latest balances from your wallet and update this kind of slider bar here so that you can show off how well your crowdfunding is doing. And we're hoping to actually add on some features so that you can issue NFTs and PSTs along with this. So probably within the next month or so, we'll have some additional functionality there. If anybody wants to build that, we're happy to provide a grant for that code base as well. This is all open source and it's in the docs portal, which I'll show. The Finny wallet as well in the new revamped version has a little bit better cross-chain functionality. So now you can see where your assets are. So if they're on Ethereum, you'll see a little Ethereum icon. If they're on just the Koi settlement layer, you'll see the Koi icon. And then there's also some that'll be on Arweave as well. So that's the native kind of atomic NFTs if you haven't come across those before. We also have our own DID standard, which is similar, I guess, to the Verto one. Tate, we're going to have to talk through how to make these compatible with each other. So with our DIDs, you get a profile page that shows off your NFTs, and you can also mine attention points when somebody goes to your profile page. So hopefully, if you guys are looking to publish content, this is like an extra way that you can drive traffic and hopefully earn some Koi tokens as well. So really what we're trying to do with Koi is to make something that's both easy to use and decentralized. And hopefully some of these developer tools will make that really easy for you guys to get into. So without further ado, I'll show off the new docs portal. So inside of docs.koi.network, which you can get to from the homepage of our site, but you can also just type it into your URL bar. You'll get basically an overview of how all these different pieces fit together. But most importantly, we have our template library here. So the template library currently has two things that you can deploy. So you can deploy a content-based leaderboard app, which looks just like Koi.rocks, which is a kind of proprietary Facebook, Twitter lookalike. That runs on Atomic NFTs. So all your content will be stored on Arweave and it will be owned by its users. The cool thing about these ones is that you can take NFTs from elsewhere and you can import them into your UI. So you can have a leaderboard-based app where all the content's on-chain and you can actually earn Koi tokens as kind of a virtue of helping other people mint their NFTs. Finally, the crowdfunding portal that I mentioned before, that is down here. So if you're in the process of setting up a new web Foundry project and you're looking to try and get some funding together for your new PST or however you're trying to incorporate, we've got this here, and that'll pop up one of these nice little pages, and there's kind of built-in scripts to compress it all down into one file and put it up on Arweave for you. So some nice options there. I did mention the office hours. So very quickly again, office hours are going to be Tuesday and Thursday for about 2 hours each day. We try to do one on Eastern time for the US, and then one's a little bit later in the day, or one's a little earlier in the day, so people in Asia will be able to attend. And if you haven't heard of Finny before, really the last thing to think about is get on our node list. So you can go to koi.me/1billion and sign up to run a node when they come out probably next month. And you can also try out the Finny wallet, which is going to have a nice new revamped version for you pretty soon. I think that was really quick, Jesse, so I'm probably under my time, but happy to take any questions now if you have one, or we can go from there.
I think that was perfect. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I think a lot of people are going to find a lot of utility in implementing this into their projects in the Foundry. I think we do have some questions in the chat, and also if anyone wants to ask questions in the chat, that's perfect. Also, did you mention that are you going to be in Denver at any point in the next week for the Ethereum conference?
Yeah, we will be. So we have a workshop happening in December where we'll be showing off how to actually deploy these crowdfunding templates to Arweave. Hopefully we'll open up lots of Ethereum mines and show them how Arweave works. Sorry, I was just checking the chat there. I saw the comment about the Koi.rocks having kind of an out-of-date sync. So we actually fixed that last week, I think. It should be a lot faster now when you upload an NFT. It should show up right away. But if there's still problems there, you can contact our support team. They'll be able to help. I'll drop a support link in here as well once I get off the stage.
Perfect. Live support. Thank you, Al.
We're here for Great.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. And then next up, we're going to have a really important tool and great founder, and this is Prashant, who will be presenting Spheron, previously Argo. And they're the simplest way to deploy your websites and applications on the blockchain in minutes. So Prashant, I hope I pronounced the name right. I know this is my first time saying the new name.
Yeah, it is perfect. So Prashant is a name which can be pronounced by both Asian and Westerners. So it is one of the best names which one can get to basically be pronounced properly. So yeah, thank you Jesse, and thank you for entire Arweave community for inviting us here, and Seb and all the team here. I love the presentation, and congratulations Tate and Jacob and Al. You guys are doing a great job, and it's always been inspiring to keep on working. And I personally believe most of us are like from the beginning. We started working with the Arweave ecosystem, right? And that is where we have that collaboration going on. So yeah, so coming on the Argo side, today it is not called as an Argo. It is earlier it used to be called as Argo app. Now we have recently migrated the name and doing a lot of migrations around changing the names and doing a lot of stuff around the Spheron protocol now. So we changed our name from Argo app to Spheron now. And what we are building, I'll basically try to share my screen now. I don't have a presentation, but my web application itself explains a lot. If anyone can confirm if it is visible.
Looks good.
Good. Yeah. So basically, as Jesse was saying, like what we are building currently is a simple tool around the developer tooling, which basically helps you to decentralize your web application using Spheron. And when I say that, it is basically it's damn easier, which means you don't need CLI, SDK libraries or anymore. We will be launching it soon later down the line, but our focus was initially is to allow people to have that user interface kind of a flexibility instead of that developer based libraries and all those things. So that is where our expertise lies into, and that is what we built in at Spheron protocol. So at Spheron, if you have any web application you want to decentralize, you can go and do that immediately when today itself on RV mainnet. So we don't have any kind of RV testnet there. So whenever you decentralize, it goes to the RV mainnet directly on the miner side. Coming to what exactly we are doing now. So we started with a very common vision in the initial phase. I believe that was our first line when we started with, is to minimize the effort of decentralizing the UI. And that was our first statement. And then over the time, we evolved ourselves, our architecture has evolved. And now we are proud to say we have onboarded more than 2,600 plus developers, 493 plus projects are currently using us, and 12,000 plus deployments has already happened so far via Spheron itself. Which means we are growing gradually day by day, and our services around this tooling has increased. So we are the first people who have launched on Polygon. So you can be on Polygon network and access RV from the Polygon directly and decentralize your app. So that is where we have an expertise in. If I have to derive what we are kind of now, most of us I have seen, like even in this presentation, a couple of people have used Vercel for deploying their application. I would highly recommend to start using Spheron. That will give you more advantage. It's go and support us by decentralizing your app via Spheron itself. So we are the Vercel of decentralized protocol. That is what we are building here. So in this entire presentation, I'm just going to quickly walk you through a very simple thing here to demonstrate you how easy it is to use Spheron. It will not take more than 2 or hardly 3 minutes max to do that. So the first thing is what you have to do in order to decentralize your app is to just log in with your GitHub if you have a GitHub account, and for sure you must be having a GitHub account. So just log in via GitHub, get into this dashboard, let it get loaded, attach your wallet, and currently the wallet support which we provide is the MetaMask support, and with that MetaMask you have other wallets as well, but most on the Polygon side. We are also in a process, and currently in our milestone itself, we have already mentioned to start working with AR Connect as well. So soon, AR Connect and Fini will be definitely looking out to how possibly well we can integrate them as well. So at Spheron, what we have built is a very simple tooling system where you can basically go and onboard any one of your team members to start deploying with you, attach your wallet, do a lot of settings, just go and play around it. What I'm going to do is, like, I'm going to deploy this AR link. I believe it was developed by John from Kive now. So they were developing this, so I had that opportunity to have the access of it. So I'm going to just deploy it. The reason being is it looks classy whenever it just gets deployed. I love this UI actually. So once you log into the system, the first thing you are going to see is all this small thing, which basically talks a lot. The second thing which you have to do is go to the deploy screen. That is the first thing you have to do. Or you can come to the main screen. The easiest way of doing deployment is come to the main screen. Once the entire screen is get loaded, go to the deploy, connect your GitHub again in order to make sure you have a given the right repository access. And once your repository comes in, what you have to do is just select the repository which you want to deploy. Let's wait. Most of our times, the waiting is something which plays a very vital role in most of the Web3 and Web2 spaces now. So yeah, so that is where. I'll wait for a couple of more seconds if it is loading up properly. If it is not, I'll go back and I'll basically demonstrate you by following a different process itself. So let's get with it. All right, so there must be some issues with my GitHub because it's a GitHub API which might not be fetching it up, but no worries. You can basically come here, go to AR link directly, get into that if you have used it earlier, and there will be a redeploy button which will be coming up here, using which you can also go and do the same. So what is the benefit of using us is you get a lot of toolings around it. So there is something called CI/CD pipeline which we have built in-house, which basically allows you to not even come to this screen again, and allows you to go and decentralize your application without even coming here itself. And it's on per commit basis. There are a lot of things which we are currently working on, like integration of environment-based deployment model. We are also working with the integrating Akash with the RV. So there are a lot of things which we are currently working on now. So at this stage of time, you have a UI as a decentralized mechanism which you can go and use that. So once you provide all those, your entire configuration, and most of the developers might be knowing it, what those configurations are, just go here and say simply deploy. And it is that easy to do that. Once it starts, like it is now flowing into AR link and all those things, let it do all those things. We also provide support. So we are the people who basically now providing support of HNS and ENS as well. So if you have a ENS or HNS domains, you can go here, connect your HNS domain directly, point to whatever RViv link you want to decentralize, and it just happens. Same happens with the ENS as well, and that is the support which we have now. Even though if you have a centralized web application, or you can say domain, you can also go and do that. In the centralized part, we have provided a very good support here. The support is around the latest deployed part. The moment you select this, what it does is it allows you to decentralize your app every time you make a commit, which means you don't even have to go and manually change your hashes into your TXT record again and again. It just happens at the runtime, and you don't even have to come here again in order to do that manually. So these are the couple of features which basically will help you out to decentralize your UI if you are building into this space. And most likely, I'll be more than happy to jump in and help you guys out to understand more in detail. But there are a few more things which I also wanted to cover here itself. The first thing is like the organization model, where you can just go and create your organization, invite your team members into those organizations, and allow them to start using it. So yeah, so this is all about Spheron at this stage now. There are a lot of things which is happening at this Spheron, new web application, new NFT-based access licensing model, and all those things, which will be live soon. So happy to be here and happy to support wherever it is possible.
Perfect. Thank you, Prashant. That was excellent. Wow, 12,000 deployments. Wow, you guys have been growing a lot. It's really cool to see how this project developed over time from, was it the first or second Foundry you guys were part of?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Very cool. Very cool. It's such an important tool for helping Web3 developers decentralize their web apps. So we're really happy to have you in the community. Thank you so much.
Same here, guys. Thank you so much.
See you, Prashant. And now we're on to our last presenter of the evening, and this is before the last presenter of the evening, before we start the mingle session. So it's not over after the presentations. You guys are actually going to have the opportunity to come talk to the founders afterwards. They'll all come into the audience. But I'd love to introduce Fabian, who's the founder of Kive Network. And Kive is a data storage framework that provides reliable and verified data. Oh, and Prashant, if you don't mind just moving off of the stage as well. Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Jesse. Let me just quickly share my screen.
Perfect.
Chill. Awesome. Can you see it?
Yeah, it looks great.
Perfect. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Fabian, the co-founder and CEO of Kive. Kive is as Jesse already said, is a storage framework which we build on Arweave. I am very Arweave native, I would say. I think it was 1.5 years ago or something from now that me, John, the co-founder, and Vero, and like all the other teams have been together on the first Open Web Foundry. I think it was maybe the second one. And like kind of from there, our journey has been kicked off. I worked on a Verify before, which we also presented at an Open Web Foundry. And then actually a year ago from now, I think a year and a few days ago, we started working on Kive. And I'm happy to give you like some quick overview of what we're doing. So the main problem in the whole crypto space basically right now is that blockchains and other projects, they just keep producing data like on a continuous basis every day, and it's going to be more and more and more, and it basically never stops. And this of course leads to like massive scalability problems. And I think we're seeing this very well on Ethereum with EIP 4444 coming up, or in Solana as well coming up, where you have actually the problem that like you might feel like a loss of data coming up in the future, just because it gets so tricky for like networks to keep the data, store it, make it available, and things like that. And basically, this is the reason why we have built Kive. And so the way Kive works is that we are storing blockchain data on top of Arweave for permanent storage, and also make the data retrievable to developers. And so the way it works is you set up a storage pool in our application, and you would connect it to, let's say, Polkadot, for example, right? And then our Kive nodes will listen to the data which Polkadot is producing, snapshotting that, putting it in bundles, and then storing it permanently on Arweave, and then also validating it. So basically, they are making sure that the data that our nodes have uploaded is actually correct and safe to retrieve for developers later on. And this kind of solves a lot of scalability problems on the other chains end, right? Because they know that the data which basically they produced is stored in a safe place permanently, so you can always kind of safely recover from that. And this is the reason why we kind of really hope that we really solve those massive problems which are coming in. As I said, we started off in Q1 2022, like 1st of February or something. Actually, the first homepage was deployed on Argo. John just found the link a few minutes ago, so that's very exciting how it kind of the whole ecosystem sticks together. And we started out by building first integrations in February time. So it was the Polkadot integration, and then we quickly started adding like Avalanche support and some others. Did a testnet release in Q2, which was Arweave based actually. We did a seed round then. And then shifted over the testnet to ERC20 contracts, so like normal Ethereum contracts. And basically the way our tech stack looks like right now is that we are smart contracts, which are EVM compatible and going to be deployed on that chains. And then we have like those nodes which live off chain. They listen to the new data, they store it, they upload it, and then permanently on Arweave. And this is kind of the way we make sure that actually, everything is set in place. We had a second seed round in Q3. Did a lot of UI, UX improvements, added more integrations basically down the line. And I would say kind of mostly we are integrated with, I would say, any major L1 and lots of L2s coming in. So for now, Kive is a Moonbeam-based network. But we have, as I said, right, storage integrations for Polkadot, Solana, Celo, well, obviously Arweave, Zilliqa, Avalanche, Cosmos, and like plenty more. We have lots of L2 we are working with. And right now we are focusing on also connecting with upcoming blockchains, which are already aware kind of the problems which the current chains on the market have. And so we try to solve with them the problem very early on to really kind of make sure that they will never basically have the problem of some ever-growing data, which you don't really know how to handle, right? Because the actual problem is that, like in the worst case, it leads back to centralization. If you don't have enough nodes which actually, are capable of storing the data, then they will go off for economic reasons or for others, and then you basically centralize it. This is kind of the way everything shuts down at the end. So we're really trying to prevent that. Well, it was a very quick overview, I would say. If you have any questions, we have the office hour on next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. European time. The whole team of Kive is at ETH Denver. So if you would love to connect, I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person as well. We have a talk on the 16th. So if you would like to connect there, we're there. We're happy to help you out, as well as the office hours. And just feel free to ask any questions. We're happy to answer them all. And thank you for listening in.
Perfect. Thank you, Fabian. We definitely ended strong here. I saw a tweet from you guys recently that you had like 40K new users in Q4 of last year. That growth is incredible. I also saw that you guys were coming out with some new features, and you've been having like demo days and AMAs. Where can people learn more about that?
Exactly. So I think the best place to learn more about it would be at the office hours, or just at the booth, or I think it's a picnic place down there on Gather. We can just walk through the more detailed stuff with a bit more time. But basically, we will also publish a recording of the demo day. Some exciting stuff we're bringing out is we're looking to further decentralize the whole protocol. So basically, the way it works right now is there's one dedicated uploader which is uploading the data, which is mostly operated just by us as the team for like easier control. And with the new update coming out, now the uploader changes every time some data has been uploaded, so it's more decentralized with the nodes. We're also launching a governance for creating pools and updating configuration. So this is also all community controlled. And then we're also preparing for an incentivized testing, which will come down also later down the line this year. This would be probably the biggest quick overview updates which are coming in besides some like normal fixes, I would say.
Okay, tons of updates. We'll definitely be sure to blast out those office hours, and everybody be sure to come join so you can ask any questions to the Kive team. Well, thank you, Fabian. Thank you, everyone, for coming. But remember, the event's not over yet. Myself and all of the other founders, we're going to come into the mingle session, and that way you can ask the founders any questions and talk to the other community members. So see you guys.